evening, everyone. We would like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone. Mr. Ganella, please.
Yes, this meeting is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings adopted at the organizational meeting held on January 6, 2025. Adequate notice of the special meeting of the Kenilworth Board of Education has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and local source on January 16, 2025. A copy has been filed with the Kenilworth Borough Clerk, posted in the board office, the Kenilworth Borough Hall, Brewerly, and Harding Schools, as is provided by the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you. Please rise and join us in the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Ganella, can we please have roll call?
Yes. Biner. Here. Concoli. David.
Here.
Ferrara.
Here.
Haberther.
Here.
Herdina.
Here.
Ladati.
Yes.
Panici.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to the superintendent's reports, presentations, and discussion. Superintendent Davies.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to start the school year in just a couple weeks. But first, I have two presentations to review with you and then several announcements. First is going to be our WIDA scores. And let me start off by saying that I'm very proud of the work that we've done as a district to increase the support of our multilingual learners, which is called MLs for short. This is students formerly known as ELL or ESL. Over the past few years, the number of multilingual learners that we educate continues to grow in our district. In 23-24, we provided instruction to 81 students. Last year, in 24-25, that number rose to 93. So we're having, continuing to rise in our numbers of ELL students or MLs. Currently, 6% of our population is part of the ESL program. I want to thank our ESL teachers, Mr. Hopper, Ms. Botino, Ms. Tropiano, and Ms. Anello, who work with the special population of students whose familiarity and fluency with the English language spans a wide range of proficiency levels. Know that some of these students can speak very well but struggle to write. Others can understand really well but struggle to speak. And still others come to school on the first day or in the middle of the school year sometimes with no familiarity with English at all. So kudos to our ESL teachers for not just providing strong language instruction but also for supporting our ML population in multiple ways beyond the academic. Additionally, in addition to our ESL teachers, all of our teachers work really hard to support our multilingual learners. Whether you're a kindergarten teacher or who has a non-English speaking student join the class in October, or you're a high school U.S. history teacher, differentiating instruction for a student who doesn't speak English is very difficult. So kudos to our teachers for all their efforts. Tonight, what you see here are the WIDA Access scores for those 93 students who were tested. The WIDA Access test is given each winter. It measures proficiency levels in reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Students are scored on a 1 through 6 basis. The score is necessary for a student to exit out of ESL, and that score is a 4.5. So when you get a 4.5 or above, you exit out of the ESL program, or it's one of the factors that leads to exiting out of the program. Their exit is also based on other academic performance, data, teacher input, and other factors. If you look at the data, you can see, the numbers right there for each grade level. There's an average score along with the number of students in each grade. It is important to note you don't want to look at those average scores and think, oh goodness, why aren't we at 4.5? These are students coming in with all different ability levels at any point during the year, so there's no critique of the district or the teachers or the students in terms of what their score is. In fact, if you have a 6, you probably shouldn't be in ESL. So you shouldn't. So those scores are pretty average for what we see every year. Students are working towards those proficiencies in those 4 areas.
Mr. Davies,
yes.
Also, I just wanted to say, just for people who maybe don't understand it with the scores in the ESL students and the scores, that oftentimes it reflects just the complication and the difficulties in the grammatical structure of the difference of the languages. The students may be able to participate in class discussions fully, but when it comes down to the grammatical structure and testing in black and white, just the fact that their verbiage is placed differently than the English verbiage becomes a problem. I know I've had a number of sections of ELA with the ESL students, and that is something that they struggle with.
Yeah.
So, and when people looking at it and thinking, oh, these kids are in class and can't even speak or communicate, that's not the case. It's just the differences in the languages that cause them the problems when it comes down to putting it in writing sometimes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. As a district, we continue to grow in this area. A couple years ago, we added an ESL teacher at Brearley. So we have 2 at Brearley, 2 at Harding. We are focused on SIOP training, which is basically we're making a lot of effort to train our general education teachers. Our ESL teachers are very strong and doing good work. We need to do more work with our general education teachers. That social studies teacher or that math teacher who has a student who doesn't speak English in his or her classroom, how to differentiate, how to adjust the curriculum to best serve those students' needs is what we're working on. We're also at Harding working on grouping the students differently moving forward to best serve our MLs moving forward. Does anyone have any other questions about this slide?
Good, Joe.
Just to kind of clarify, of these 93 students, would a large percentage of them be Spanish-speaking students who
Yes,
can? Okay.
correct.
Yep, that was kind of my question, related. What do we do for if you have a kid that speaks Italian? I mean, do they have the same type of education
Yes,
and
yes.
support and everything
Our
else,
biggest
or German
population-
or whatever?
Yeah, our biggest population is Spanish.
Absolutely, yeah.
Second biggest is Portuguese.
Okay.
But no matter what language you speak when you enter the ESL program, you're receiving the same language instruction with the ESL.
Okay,
ESL teachers.
thank you.
Other questions?
So just to follow
Yeah.
up then, so as you were mentioning the regular, not the regular, but the other teachers that are not ESL teachers, that there is a path of, you can't sit there and say that I don't understand this person's language, it's that we are going to teach them English through that.
Absolutely.
So
And-
so a teacher could not come back and say, I have a problem, these kids can't.
No.
Yeah, right.
And our teachers don't do that.
No,
They-
I'm just-
Yeah, but yes, they work very closely with the ESL teachers for support, and that's why as a district, we were trying to support those teachers better moving forward with our SIOP training. But yeah, no teachers.
Right,
Our
I was not accusing
Yes.
the teacher. I just,
Fair
I've been in other districts where that is said, not Kenilworth.
Yes. The next bit of data is our SSDS report, which I do this twice a year. So there's a report that comes out in January and also one in the summer. So twice a year, I report out the data of the Student Safety Data System, which tallies all the incidents, programs, and trainings associated with ensuring a safe school environment for all of our students. This first slide shows you the incidents of violence, vandalism, substance use, weapons, HIB confirmed and HIB unconfirmed reports, as well as incidents that lead to suspensions. That bottom bar, and you'll notice that it increased last year, that number 37. So there's been an uptick in that. There's a reason for this. At both Harding and Brearley this past school year, we saw an increase in what we label as negative student interpersonal behaviors. Students in conflict with each other. This data is emerging in 2 different places. It's here in the SSDS report with that bar at the bottom with that number 37 there, which shows a pretty big increase from previous years. Also, we gave a survey to our teachers, our parents, and our students back in May and June. It's called the New Jersey School Climate Improvement Survey. And we administered this survey. And it's interesting that the biggest area of concern flagged by this survey was the student interpersonal behaviors. Essentially, it's students being unkind to each other in the form of name calling, racial slurs, general inappropriate behavior, pushing, kicking, those types of things. We've seen an uptick in that. My administrative team has been thinking about this a lot over the summer. We're going to be working with our school climate teams in the fall, and we're going to be presenting the data of our school climate improvement survey to our faculties at faculty meetings in the fall, as well as to the board and to the public in the fall as well. What we think is that I think this is the result of what I'm calling the TikTok social media effect, where foul language, inappropriate behavior, and hate speech are fairly normalized, unfortunately, and young people are exposed to content and material much too mature for their age. They're seeing so much scroll across their screens that becomes normal, and then they go online and these things become even more normal as they're texting and whatnot, messaging, and then it bleeds over into the cafeteria or the playground or the hallway and the gym and then the classroom, and we're seeing that happen, and it is not unique to Kenilworth, it's everywhere, but we're seeing what I'm calling this TikTok social media effect, where they're just exposed to this material that people maybe weren't exposed to long ago. So that's a concern. And while the second thing that I want to share with you is that while we never want to see the data grow in this area, I think it is important to note that our educators and our school leaders take action when these instances are occurring in our schools. And I think that's one of the silver linings to this data, is that this demonstrates that people respond when students or parents bring things to our attention. We take action, there are consequences for poor behavior. So yes, there's an uptick, but we're responding to that uptick. The data demonstrates that there are consequences for poor choices, inappropriate behavior, and that inappropriate behavior that demeans a peer or classmate is not tolerated in our schools. So what are we doing about this, though? I'm looking forward to the split of the middle school, frankly, from the high school, as well as the split of 6th grade away from Harding into the middle school. I think we'll be able to better isolate trends in negative student interpersonal behaviors, and with the introduction of a middle school principal who focuses solely on middle school issues, where a lot of this happens, we're in much better position to target those negative student interpersonal behaviors moving forward. So I appreciate the board's support of hiring a middle school principal, because I really do think that person, Ms. Pavlicek, will be able to truly isolate some of those negative behaviors, many of which happen in those grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. They happen elsewhere, of course, but there's a bulk of it happening at the middle school age, where students are being exposed to social media for the first times, and they may not have the brain development yet to deal with what they're seeing, and they don't know how to respond to their peers. Already, Ms. Pavlicek is introducing middle school advisory in the new middle school, where teachers and students will have opportunities throughout the year to focus on character education. This is an extension of the Harding SOAR program, as well as Second Step, Hawk of the Month, Hawk Assemblies that have been introduced at Harding that reinforce positive behaviors at the elementary school. So we're seeing that continue now up into the middle school, and I'm really excited for that, because I think we'll see improvement in these areas, and we'll see better data coming out in the future. Additionally, our school climate teams will be sifting through the data of the New Jersey School Climate Improvement Survey that I mentioned a moment ago. The school climate teams, for the first time, will have this data to use to implement targeted programming. They've been meeting over the past several years, but they never had any data to grapple with, and I think this survey that we administered in May and June is going to be really helpful for them to really target. And that survey came out of Rutgers University, and that group of people were able to work with in terms of how to set goals based on this data that best serves the school climate of our buildings. So I'm excited for that to launch this fall as well. Any questions about this slide before we move forward?
I just have a question as a
Yeah.
as a parent of a first ever graduating the middle school in June. She
Yes.
will be. Is there anything to do to kind of inform the parents? Because my generation, as the parents, did not have TikTok. So, is there something that the parents could be aware of, or an outreach to the parents of showing them?
Yeah, I think we can do more education of our parents for sure. I would like to. Sometimes the genie's out of the bottle when you give your kid a phone at a certain age, and then it's getting parents to join together, I think, is the key, and getting parents to commit to each other that we're not going to give our children a phone until this age or this grade, and we're not going to give our children access to social media until this grade or this age. That's a piece of the issue. So I think doing more education for parents like that would be helpful. It's hard as a parent to not give your kids those things that every other kid has. You don't want to be the only parent. You don't want your kid.
Well, especially with our current middle school kids
Right.
we're in a spot where, as a parent, you were kind of forced. It's the only way to interact when they were in first, second, and third grade because of COVID.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
and that's what we're seeing. Those kids now are our middle schoolers.
Right. I think, so one thing for the board and the public to be aware of is that the middle school, cell phones are now no longer allowed.
That's great.
We don't want to see them, not at lunch, not in the hallway, not in the bathroom, nowhere. And what I want to see is that move forward into the high school as the middle schoolers currently move forward to the high school. So that's what I
I absolutely
towards.
love that idea.
And then I think along with that, we can educate the parents to tell them why this exists in the schools, because this is what's happening. This is and I think honestly our parents know that, but it's like, how do you stop it? No one knows how to stop it, and so I think we, parents and school, have to join together to stop it, because it's hurting our children.
It's great. This is really good things.
Other thoughts or questions about the first slide?
Is there any repeats from 23 to 24? Like the same people?
Yes.
Big chunk?
It's a good question. I wouldn't say a big chunk. There are a few repeats in there. Yes. Which we have, interestingly, the state has enacted, especially for HIBs. If you're a repeat HIB, the school district now has to implement additional measures to assist that child who's the aggressor in an HIB. You have to do more. We have to do more for that child to intervene if we identify that person as a repeat person. And that we have seen that, yes.
And we have the same penalty for alleged, but not, people just lying about this incident. I mean, I always was the position of, if the person's gonna come here and accuse a kid of doing something bad or bullying or name calling, and it's not legitimate, that the person
Oh, yeah, definitely.
should have the same penalty as the person if they really committed the bullying.
With AI, it's very difficult these days
Okay.
to identify what's fake and what's real, because people will.
Sure.
I mean, as a principal, I would know this. They would hand you social media messages that have been doctored. We've had that, so it is difficult, but yes.
Okay, I
the
just want to make
penalties
sure
are
that's always in place.
The penalties are very stiff for any type of allegation that comes forth that's fraudulent.
Okay, good.
The second slide for the SSDS report mandates that we report out restraints, programs, and trainings. So you see that our programs are increasing and our trainings are, relatively stable over time. Restraints also had a big uptick, and I just want to explain that. That's due to some key individuals at the elementary school level who were not identified with special needs and now are being identified with special needs. And so our teachers, identify who these students are right away, and then we spend time with our special education department, our BCBA, working to identify how to support these children better. In the meantime, sometimes that is a struggle because we're working with the parent, sometimes not working with the parent, to find the best supports for the child, and sometimes that requires a restraint in the classroom setting or in the hallway. So that's specific to Harding. Any questions about this slide?
All good.
All right, so then on to some general announcements. Just regarding our construction, if you note, Mr. Ganella is not giving an update because we have nothing else to say. No. We're in fantastic shape. I'm really proud of our district. I'm really proud of our custodial staff, our secretaries, our maintenance crew, Mr. Ganella. Like, people have worked really hard to get our buildings ready for the opening on September 8th. It's really exciting. It looks fantastic. I can't wait to show it off to the public. I can't wait for back to school nights. I can't wait for tours. We're gonna have a grand opening of the middle school on September 8th in the evening. There's so many wonderful things happening, so just, it's great. Last week, myself, Mr. Ganella, a number of staff members did a quality assurance review of the new wing. We basically scrutinized every nook and cranny of that building and identified anything that we thought was not up to snuff by putting little pieces of painter's tape all over the place. We had our rep from Legacy joining us, taking notes, and so they're spending the next week making sure everything looks perfect. Our middle school classrooms are not quite ready for teachers to return, but they will be next week. So it'll be a quick turnaround, but I think everyone kind of expected that. A note about Harding teachers, wow. The building looks fantastic. We could open Harding tomorrow. Those classrooms, they did a phenomenal job, and it's just great to see so much energy and excitement coming from our Harding teachers. The building is ready. A huge thank you to all of our 12-month employees as well. As I said, we're ready to start the school year, and I'm excited for that. Brearley has some cleanup to do, but we'll be ready on September 8th. A reminder to all parents and students that School for Everyone starts on the 8th, and that the first day of school is an early dismissal day. So that's for both buildings, all three buildings, excuse me, early dismissal day on the 8th. Also, the principals have been sending updates to families throughout the summer with supply lists, orientation dates, information on Chromebook distributions, etc. All buildings will be releasing student schedules this week via Genesis. So please check that, and you'll get an email when that happens if you're checking. Please continue to check email for the latest updates from myself. You'll see a lot of communication over the next 2 weeks. There will also be the first Friday folder will be distributed Friday, September 12th. And I just want to remind people who are submitting materials to the Friday folder, please make sure Ms. Casamento has your PDF materials by Thursday morning so she can turn that around in time for Friday. In Brearley news, the school counselors ran a successful Camp College program 2 weeks ago. This was the 5th consecutive year running the program. We had close to 40 students working on their college applications and their college essays. It was great to see our seniors, our rising seniors in the school building getting ready for the fall. Great feedback from those who participated, so kudos to our school counselors. Also, already, hard to believe, but this Thursday at 6 p.m. is our first Brearley Bears football game. The 28th, I think it is. We take on Wallington at home, so please come out and enjoy our first football game of the season. Our cheer team, our soccer team, our band, and color guard, they've all been practicing, so it's going to be a great fall season. Finally, tomorrow, the leadership team is participating in our annual leadership team retreat. And in general, there's just a fantastic atmosphere throughout the district. It really is a great energy. That excitement energy that happens at the start of a school year is here and present. It's wonderful to feel. So it's going to be a wonderful year, and I can't wait to welcome everyone back. Finally, I'm looking forward to launching strategic planning this fall. So as a reminder, we're looking for community involvement. I encourage all stakeholders to consider contributing your voice and thoughts as we design a strategic plan for the next 5 years. The first strategic planning meeting is October 8th at 6:30 p.m. And then there's one November 12th and one December 3rd. So I encourage everyone to think about participating and contribute your voice. That's all for my report. Thank you for your time.
Anyone have questions?
I just have one for Vince. Vince, I think Ryan asked on communications with the finance committee about a punch list. Is that what you guys did?
We did more of a aesthetic punch list.
Okay.
The architects are doing a separate punch list. The multiple engineers are doing a separate punch list. And then our construction managers also doing a punch list. So there's multiple punch lists. But we found a lot of things that they might not have found.
Okay.
You go through 6 people who, 6 or 7? Seven of us who, were just like really looking at things, so we found a lot.
Did we address that wood stripping behind that
Yes.
front desk? Okay.
It's not fixed, but it's
Okay.
on the list.
Okay. Good.
So the second
Lots
question
of
is.
green tape.
What's
There's
it
a lot- there's a lot there.
It's lots of green tape all over it. So the question is, when you brought up Chromebooks, I mean, during negotiations last year with the secretaries and aides, there was an issue with giving the Chromebooks to one of the secretaries, and she was kind of deal with all the issues. Do we put anything in place where that's not happening anymore? That may have happened at the end of last year or the end of this year, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
we streamlined our acceptance of a device process in the main office. So a
Okay.
secretary still accepts a device from a
Understandable,
student,
right.
but that now has a form. The student fills out the
Great.
form. The secretary simply takes the form, takes the device, puts it in the box, and now the IT
Perfect.
department comes and gets
Okay.
it. So it's not the responsibility of the secretary
Great.
to fix
Okay.
a computer.
Thank you.
Diagnose it.
Yeah, diagnose it.
Questions?
Yeah, I guess it might be more for Vince, or maybe for Jeremy. So is there anything of significance at Harding that maybe the Finance and Facilities Committee could get a tour over there of things that have been improved upon, since last year? Because, we always get a tour of this building, but I thought we spent a significant amount of money over there, and we never tour what's being done over there.
Yeah,
So
we could
I'd like
definitely-
to do that if
sure,
possible.
Sure. Yeah, maybe we have our meeting for our next meeting. Maybe we'll switch that to a Wednesday night, and we'll do it over there. Our committee meeting or something
The
like
committee
that.
meeting can meet there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Next
It's a good point, and they've had significant improvements over there as
Yeah.
well.
Well, auditorium.
Auditorium is fantastic,
Saw the auditorium,
playgrounds, we got the preschool classrooms coming up.
STEM room.
STEM room is new,
Sharp.
yeah,
She did a nice job up there.
yeah,
That still needs work from our end, but she did a nice job with
Yeah.
it. Yeah, teacher.
yeah, for sure.
Mentor. Okay.
Anyone else, any questions? Thank you. Superintendent Davies. We'll now move on to report of committee, review of resolutions and board discussion. Mr. Ladati, Finance, Facility, and Negotiations. please.
Hi, good evening. The final weeks of summer have been busy, and the team is preparing for the start of the school year. Mr. Ganell and Mr. Davies have advised that we are in excellent shape for the return of the students on September 8th. Transportation, cafeteria services, facility preparations are coming together, and we expect a smooth opening operationally, from an operational standpoint. That's all I have on that. Tonight, the Facilities and Finance resolutions include approval of various reports, plans, contracts to ensure that we're fully positioned for the start of the school year. Since this is not a really end-of-the-month report, there was no financials to review and to report out on, thank goodness for once. And that's really, there's 10 resolutions, I recommend approval of each for the facilities and finances.
Thank you, Mr. Ladati. Anyone have questions about resolutions? No? Okay. Up next, Mr. Habecker, Personnel and Management.
Thank you. There are 9 resolutions tonight. Resolution 11 is the acceptance of resignation of a classroom aide. Resolution 12 is the approval to hire a human resources secretary. Resolution 13 is a leave replacement. Resolution 14 is the approval of school year 25-26 paraprofessional lunch aides. Resolution 15 approves change in salaries for staff who have completed required courses and submitted their verifications. Resolution 16, that was 15, yeah. Resolution 16 is the approval of additional teaching sections for school year 25-26. Resolution 17 is the approval of a transfer of a staff member. Resolution 18 is the approval of co-curricular stipend positions for the 25-26 school year. And last but not least, Resolution 19 is the approval of substitute staff. And that is it.
Anyone have questions about any of the motions for Personnel and Management?
Just with number 12, is it necessary to have a secretary specifically for that person's position? We don't have enough secretaries that they could handle the duties that would be handled?
So, yes, it is necessary. We, as you know, reduced our administrative staff. We did. And in that transition, we've moved and created the new position of a human resources director.
Right.
And having that director have that person who's supporting all of the paperwork that comes along with the hiring, the background checks, the certifications, all of those things, was deemed an essential piece of that new role for that new administrator.
Okay.
Anyone, any other questions? Personnel Management? Okay. I don't see any motions for curriculum and instruction, so we will now move on to old business. Any old business? As always, I'd like to remind.
Mr. David had raised his hand.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could go on, that's fine. Question, I guess, again, for probably Vince, and maybe Jeremy. I know that we talked about having the student handbook updated for, in my terms, abusing the facilities. But did that happen?
It did, yeah, it's already happened. So all the student handbooks at each of the buildings, Harding Middle School and High School, have been updated to include specifically talking about driving motorbikes across the turf,
Yeah.
Littering, things like that. And then each of the principals is having the grade level assemblies at the beginning of the year. And that's a piece that's embedded into their presentation to all the kids. Trying to also promote pride in your school district, pride in your town, in your community, not just, the punishment if this
Right.
happens, but hey, take care of things. If you see something, pick it up. We also worked with our athletic teams in terms of, this is your home, this field, this is your space. When you get there, if you see that there's litter, the team is now picking it up. And as they leave, they're also checking it out and picking it up. So there's been some efforts made in that department, specifically with the teams, to take on more of like a prideful feel for their home.
Yeah, and that's great. I started to walk the track the last few weeks, and so I'm obviously observing a lot of stuff. And one of the things, I guess, again, more to Vince is, I know there's a sign when you come in to the facilities or the field from 14th Street. In my opinion, the sign has a lot of stuff on it, and then there's one line about, you know, not having bikes, you know, strollers, whatever. And it's difficult to see. So quite frankly, I think we need signs.
There's good, if I could,
Okay.
we're already in the process of putting signs on each one of the entrances to the
Perfect.
track.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the
I'm
track
sorry.
is
Yeah,
our,
that's what I was gonna
the
say.
track
So
is our
that's-
concern. It's not so much the
Right.
asphalt. People are gonna bring their strollers and
Right.
bikes and stuff like that. So we are gonna have entrance, and we're actually going to be locking the larger gates, and forcing people to go to the 2 or 3 smaller gates to go onto the track. So, and there's specific sign, nothing with wheels, basically. Bikes, scooters, rollerblades, roller skates, motorized bikes, anything, so.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That was obviously gonna be my recommendation, because
Yep.
you walk by that,
You
and
do.
people are coming in from
Absolutely.
different areas. They're not gonna see that, but, you know, there's a lot of offenders, you know, as I was walking the other night, you know, there was two women, a little girl who was with the 2 women. She's climbing the fence, I mean, and they're just ignoring it. Meanwhile, there's 2 little boys riding their bikes who are also with the 2 women. So I confronted them in a nice way and just said, you know, like, you know that there's no bikes. I said, first of all, it shouldn't be climbing on a fence, you can get hurt. And in addition, you know, that there's no bikes allowed on the track. So they were nice. They said, thank you, and, you know, they stopped the
Yep.
behavior, but
Right.
it would be better if we have signs. I don't want to confront people.
I've confronted quite a few students and asked them to take their bikes off, and each time, you know, they say, we're sorry. I said, you know why we're doing this? Actually, Angela just did it today. Another kid was out there, and she said, yeah, we'd probably be abusing hurting the turf, exactly. So they get it. But now, once the principals hopefully send that message, it will be understood that could be some consequences. down
Yeah, I
the
mean, if you
road.
do the, you know, in the auditorium, and let the kids know that,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Well,
Okay,
parents
thank
can be responsible for the damage, right?
correct.
You've got to emphasize that also.
you. That's a good point, yeah.
Let the parents know, hey, you cannot sit on the turf, you're paying for it.
$1 million.
$1 million, we want it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Whatever your house is.
Sorry, Greg. Old business, we just want to continue to remind everyone to please check our websites, Instagrams, social media pages for information. If you have any questions, everything should be on the website, and then the Friday folders coming back will be helpful for all the parents to get the appropriate information, and reach out to your building level principals if you have concerns and need support.
I have an old business.
Sure.
Where are we, any updates since 2 weeks ago on the preschool program? Or we're still at the
Oh,
percentage?
yes, thank you for that reminder. So we're having a preschool Zoom this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Bubnowski sent an email out today to all the people who've registered for preschool. Whether you're on the waiting list or have a seat, for sure. He sent an email out to all preschool parents saying to talk through the logistics of how preschool is going to look and all the ins and outs of it. So that Zoom is happening this Wednesday. So thank you for that reminder.
Anyone else on business? New business? Just like to wish everybody a great opening of schools. It's a lot of work. We've been working really hard. Everyone, there's too many people to name in the school community, put a lot of effort into going back to school. It's a very exciting time, and we hope that people and students are excited, and the board wants everyone to have a great year. And we're gonna continue to support those efforts for the students and the team members. Okay, any other new business comments? Okay, we're now gonna open up the meeting to the public for comment. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Ferrero. All those in favor of opening the meeting to the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Mr. Ganella?
Yes, public comment will now be accepted. The Board of Education sets a limit to for the public to speak at board meetings to 5 minutes per person unless prior permission has been granted by the Board of Education for extended time pursuant to BOE policy bylaw 0167. Please be reminded that while members of the board of the public may speak on personnel matters during public comment, the Board of Education is legally prohibited from discussing individual personnel issues in public session unless the employee at issue has requested a public discussion. The board's role is to set policy and ensure the effective operations of our schools. While personnel recommendations are the exclusive responsibility of the superintendent of schools, the board reviews and acts on those recommendations in accordance with state law and district policy, but does not initiate, manage, or individual staffing decisions.
Thank you. Is there any public that wishes to comment at this time? No? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Reiner. All those in favor of closing the meeting, the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Ganella, can we please have a roll call of resolutions?
There are 19 resolutions on this evening's agenda. Any of those need to be voted on separately? Okay. This is for resolutions then 1 through 19 on the agenda. Biner.
Yes.
Crincoli. I'm sorry. Biner.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Ferrara.
Yes.
Haberther.
Yes.
Ardina.
Yes.
Ladati.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Panici.
Yes.
Motion's carry unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a need to go into closed executive session? Okay. At this time, we'd like to thank everyone for coming and ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ferrera, seconded by Mr. David. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion's carried. We are now adjourned. Thank you so much for attending.
You look too relaxed.